Hey, what's up? For this month's infield poll, I thought I would show something a little different, because so far what I've shown is sort of like same night lay type of polls. But a lot of you, if you're not that advanced and haven't polled a lot, or just if you're dealing with girls that have logistical restrictions, what you're gonna end up doing a lot of at first is getting phone numbers, following up, doing day twos, meeting the girl out, that kind of stuff. And so I thought I would show you a set where it was more get a solid phone number, actually follow up via some pretty simple phone game, and then actually meet up with the girl and then pull from there. So I want you to see that scenario. I want you to understand the difference between how you're gonna sort of interact when you're going for a same night pull versus another one. So this is a situation where I met this girl at a bar, and I had other obligations that night, so I wasn't actually able to stick around and pull. Whether she would have been able to or not, I don't know. We didn't really screen for it super hard because I wasn't personally able to. And so even though I started out playing it very playerish and very much like on for the quick thing, I ended up actually spending some time building comfort, getting to know the girl, and then building kind of a more solid number. And you can see the number is solid based on the text game follow-up and how eager she is to meet up. And one little tip in terms of that, we'll get into it as we go later, is to maintain the tension and not to over-escalate. Right? If you're pushing really hard on the day of and trying too hard to pull, you actually kind of ruin your chances of having a solid number and follow-up. Whereas if you're more chill and laid back, there's more sort of plausible deniability on the part of the girl where she feels like she can meet up with you without it necessarily being for sex. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And as we go through this, I'll kind of break down all of the different things. The other thing I kind of want to show you in this first segment is a little bit of old school group theory. Basically dealing with the friends, making sure they all like me, making sure they're okay with me, but at the same time picking out my target, the girl that I'm into, within the group of friends. All right, so with that said, let's crack into it and get going. Oh, excuse me. Sorry. You guys look like, hi. You're very friendly. I thought you looked like trouble, but then she's like, you're like something out of a Disney movie, actually. I love it. It's beautiful.
Is that a very perceptive?
I think you're very friendly and cool. What can I say?
That's definitely a compliment.
I don't know. Not an animated one. It's okay. You're not like Mickey Mouse. You're like one of the human characters.
She's like a Disney princess, like at Disneyland. What you're saying is she's a princess.
The other one. Actually, like I said, I was gonna say you guys look like trouble, but it all went away as soon as I walked up.
As soon as I said hi, I think is when it went away.
What?
As soon as I said hi is when it went away.
I know, right? I was just like drawn to this. How do you guys all know each other?
We all went to college together.
Fair enough. And you stayed friends, which is amazing.
Yeah, we're all best friends.
All best friends.
It's her birthday.
What's that?
Today is her birthday.
Happy birthday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I want you to notice here is the vibe, and mainly the difference in the vibe of how I treat the group versus how I treat the girl I'm into. So the group in general, I'm very friendly, I'm very positive, I'm even a little like complimentary and flirty, and that's fine. However, I don't single them out in any way. I don't specifically say, oh, you're specifically this, or you're specifically that. I only single out the girl I'm actually into, right? And that's very critical. Because when you start like singling someone out, you're creating a personal relationship with them, and that's how targets are chosen. It's not necessarily about who you compliment or who you're friendly to or that kind of stuff in a general sense. It's about the singling out and deciding using, I often say like I, you, we, using the words you and we with them and making it about them is the critical juncture. The other thing that's very nice and useful is by making it about them, you create relevance. You make what you're saying important to their world, which will snap them to attention. So here when I go in, I use the whole Disney princess line, just like some random shit off the top of my head. I don't even know where it came from. But the point is, it's unusual and it's about her, and it makes her say, wait, what does that mean? Is that positive? Is that negative? Does that, what about me says that? It gets her curious and it makes her want to participate. So that's very valuable. Also, a really important question that you heard in there for any group situation you're going to deal with is that how do you guys all know each other? You should always ask that to someone who is responding favorably to you within the group. But it's very important to figure out that dynamic because it's going to help you with who's single. It's going to help you with what the logistics are in terms of how protective they're going to be or how receptive they'll be to you talking to any particular person. It's going to help you with how they got there and how easy or hard it will be to pull. It'll help you with whether you need a wingman or not. That's a very critical starter question for all of the different screening that you're going to do, both in terms of whether the set's worthwhile for you and the one you want to stay in, but also in terms of the exact strategy of how you're going to go about doing it. So far I've gone in, got the group to like me, singled out my target a little bit, and I mean, it's by no means a fully won situation, but we're certainly in a position from which a win is possible.
Definitely not what I thought you were gonna be at all.
What?
I was like, you know, these girls will be fun to like tease and kid around with, but they'll be like just completely like disingenuous and so.
We're not fun to tease and get around with?
No, you're more genuine than I expected.
Oh, really?
I thought I was gonna have a highly superficial
Oh, you were gonna come over here and make fun of us?
Well, I was just gonna enjoy my own, you know, banter with people to play off of.
And now you're like, wait, these are legit people.
How dare you be a human being? What are you doing being a human?
Wait, what are we doing here?
How tall are you anyway? You're wearing heels too, right?
Yes.
5'2", 5'3", something like that?
5'1" and 3/4 actually.
I'm glad you didn't
I live in heels.
I'm glad you didn't sneak that extra like quarter inch. I appreciate that.
I don't think that we should like go over
You're not so bad. That's smart. You have to stop giving me that look. I don't know. I mean, we're strangers, so like, I think we just have fun and let the grown-ups handle the serious stuff.
All right, so what you've just seen here is a really great example of a couple different things. One is qualification, right? Getting the girl to jump through hoops, showing her what you like about her, showing her how she's different than just some typical girl. And this is the single biggest thing that's gonna make your numbers not flake, okay? If the girl just feels like you would have talked to any particular girl and she wasn't special and it, you know, you just went in with the intention of fucking her, and if you succeed, you won and she gave in, that's not going to work very, very well. That's not a narrative in her head that leads to it feeling good and feeling like a win for her, right? It makes her feel slutty, makes her feel used, makes her feel, I don't know, cheap, whatever, all kinds of different things like that. Okay, so qualification, super, super important. Also, qualification is great because the very fact that you are willing to qualify, the fact that you're in a position of judging and evaluating, the fact that you are high value enough to have an opinion about her and for that to be relevant, that says great things as well. So qualification is one of the 3 forms of communication that I know of that build value and comfort at the same time. Therefore, it's one of the most powerful tools in game. By the way, the other 2 are storytelling and having sex. All right, those all build value and comfort at the same time. All right, so qualification, absolutely huge. See how I do it here. See how I have her jumping through my hoops a little bit. See how willing she is. And see how actually, even though it's like asking something of her and whatnot, her participation in it actually brings us closer together. And then also notice how I keep everything lighthearted, right? This whole like, let's just have fun, let the grown-ups handle the serious stuff, that kind of stuff. Finally, the thing I'm doing is I'm building a plot line. I'm building a story between her and me. It's not like it's just some physical thing and we just made out or whatever. There's a story, there's a narrative. I always think to myself, especially again, if you want to make a number solid, I always think to myself, if she were to tell her friends about this later, right? If she were to tell them the story of us meeting, what would the story be? Would there be a good story there? Because if there is, there's a lot of reason for her to tell her friends, a lot of reason for her to buy in, a lot of reason for her to get on board with what's going on and to really enjoy it. If there's no story, if there's no narrative, if there's nothing positive going on, then that's much less likely, okay? So very important things, qualification, plot line, but then notice, even as I'm getting to know her and I'm building this plot line, I'm qualifying, it's not all serious. It's not like, oh, we're in serious get to know you mode now. No, it's still playful, it's still light, it's still fun, right? It needs to keep that tone of nonchalance, that tone that like it's just happening, it's not a big deal. As soon as it seems like a big deal, you have an agenda, and that breaks trust also.
I'll tell you what. Would you like to join me for a very quick drink, and I will tell you a story and you can tell me a story.
For what?
I said, would you like to, I just got here, so would you like to join me for a very quick drink, and I will exchange a story with you? Perhaps if you tell me one of your own.
Yeah?
Does that work?
Well, I would love to, but I'm kind of with my friends. You can hang out with us.
Undoubtedly,
hang out
they're very cool.
with
They're very cool. I just meant like walking 5 feet. But yes.
Oh, go to the bar?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll go to the bar with you.
I wasn't gonna like. Oh, so
I'm not gonna like creep off into like.
I mean, that could be intriguing and fun and all, but like, let's start here. What?
You never know some of these people that you get.
So you seem ambitious and competitive. Does that mean you played sports growing up?
I should be more competitive.
Why?
Because I don't know. Sometimes I'm not as competitive as I should be.
Fair enough.
All right, so here you see me actually getting isolation. And if you're gonna pull, this is absolutely essential. Even if you're gonna get just a phone number, having some type of intimacy and isolation, being away from their friends, is massively, massively valuable because there's only so deep the conversation can go with her friends around. And so once I get her alone, I can challenge her more, I can qualify deeper, I can get more physical. A lot of really, really good things can happen. And I want to make the isolation seem really, really casual. And that's actually my intention here, is just, hey, let's grab a quick drink over at the bar. Now, something interesting happens in this particular set. It's like a kind of a Freudian thing, because I think she's already very aroused and she already kind of like wants me to possibly take her home and whatnot. So, I mean, not that she wants it, it's on her mind at least. So when I say, hey, come to the bar with me, she's already thinking about going home with me. And she responds as, oh no, I'd like to, but I can't because my friends, right? And so that's kind of a good sign for me. So this is a case of like, listen to the woman, listen to what she's telling you. She's telling you that things are really, really good. She's telling you she really likes you. She's telling you that she's thinking sexual things already. And so what is that? That's permission to escalate more. That's permission to tease a lot harder. It's permission to even like push her away and get her to chase harder. It's just really, really good to know that fact. Without that fact, I'd play a lot softer, a lot more tentative, a lot more low risk, or I guess lower risk in general. So that's a very, very interesting thing. And then you'll notice I continue the qualification once we're alone, but it's a little bit stronger, a little bit more direct. And then I want to also start increasing the intimacy as well.
What are we gonna do with you? You're not supposed to lie. You're not supposed to be like that. You look so sweet and innocent. You seem so nice, and then you lie.
It's like an aggressive lie.
It is actually premeditated and everything.
Well, I was starting to feel anxious about it. And then my boss's boss called me out on it. She was like, that's bullshit. I was like, you're right, it is. I'm sorry.
Fair enough.
But I'm leaving on Sunday.
Gotcha. I am leaving on like Tuesday. Unfortunately, I have my event tomorrow in the evening. What are you doing around like lunchtime tomorrow?
I don't know, we'll be around.
Grabbing a drink
We're staying at the Raleigh.
Grabbing a drink with the most elegant, sophisticated, and amazing man in Miami?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah. You're like so happy right now. Yeah, you're alright.
What are you doing tomorrow?
I have my event at 7, but I have my day free to hang out, grab a drink.
Well, I think we're gonna go like hang out at the hotel where I'm staying at the Raleigh, and then
Where's
maybe
that?
it's like a block and a half that way. So maybe I'll see you later. Are you gonna ask for my number?
Huh?
Are you gonna ask for my number?
Sure.
I'm not forcing it on you.
Come here. You are adorable. And surprisingly fun.
Why are you surprised that I'm fun?
I meet a lot of people.
Do you think I was gonna be a bitch, or do you think I was gonna be boring?
Most people are not bitches to me. Very few people are bitches to me, but people are boring sometimes.
Oh, that's nice.
So what you're seeing here is kind of the ideal way to get the number, which is not to even have to ask for it, but to just like allude to it. Like the number itself, it shouldn't be an event. It should be such a foregone conclusion because you clearly like each other, you clearly want to see each other, that it would be almost weird not to close. And you can see that when she's like, well, are you going to ask for my number? Are you going to take my number? right? That's the way you actually want it to happen. The other thing that I'm doing is I'm figuring out the future plans already. You want to do this either whether after you get the number or before, but you want to know what you're working with. If you know what her schedule is like for the next few days, it's very, very likely you'll figure out a way to meet up. You can even have like a tentative plan like in the back of her mind so that like she's even keeping it free for you, or it's just like very high likelihood that that particular time will happen. If you don't know her schedule and you get the number, now you're in a tougher situation. I don't want to say a bad situation, but at least a tougher situation. You don't know what times to ask her out for. You don't know what time she'll be free the next day. You don't have that like momentum of having kind of cemented a plan in her head so that when she walks away, she's already imagining the next time seeing you. It's so critical to do that. Also, though, notice I'm still continually qualifying. I'm still giving her a hard time. There's always that push-pull, even after the number. It's not like, a lot of guys think it's like there's this value phase and this comfort phase. And it's like once you've done the value stuff, you just like become this boring, dull, platonic guy. That's not true, okay? It starts out like 80-20 value, and then later on it becomes like 80-20 comfort, but there's still that 20% value. It's still there. You still have to be teasing, you still have to maintain your frame, you still have to be high value. As soon as you lose that, you lose the tension. When the rope goes slack, you're done, okay? Never, ever, ever give up the sexual tension. All right, from here, I'm going to show you guys the text conversation and then the following meetup. I'll go through it relatively quickly. It's a pretty straightforward texting situation because I've done a lot right on the day one. Right? She likes me a lot. We already have sort of like a tentative plan. If I recall correctly, I just didn't get in touch with her the next day because I didn't wake up in time. Right? So we had like tentative plans for like, oh, we'll do something, around midday. I woke up a bit late, texted her a bit later. And then by that time, I almost had my event. So we weren't able to meet up until a bit later yet. But because it was such a solid job on day one, it almost eliminated the need for any kind of like intricate texting. Like I had to do basic texting. I did not fuck it up in text, but the set itself carried through the text. And that's the ideal. What you want to do is a good enough set that the texting, just minimal, don't fuck it up text, gets the job done. Now, obviously, you won't always have that opportunity. Obviously, sometimes you'll have to do more intricate, more complex sort of texting. But the goal is not to like win her through your text, but win her through your set and just get her out through your text. So let's look at a quick example of that. All right, so we start off, she texted me hi. That was actually at the time of, I say, hey you, hope you had fun last night. What are your plans for today? And again, I woke up late and already kind of missed our plan. So while this may seem like kind of a very overly friendly, overly positive thing, you have to understand, A, it was a really good interaction, and B, I already slept through our intended plan. By the way, these timestamps are London time, so that's why it's like kind of weird, and it'd actually be earlier in the day if you're looking at the timestamps on the text. That's how it came up on my phone when I put these out. But so anyway, it's already later in the day, and so it's already, I've been rude and I've already been dismissive by not texting her earlier, so I can be a little nicer and still get away with it. So she goes, hi, we're going to the pool party SLS, so obviously she's already trying to make plans, so that's pretty good. And then what are you up to? Even better. I say, have my speaking event from 7 to 10, should be free after. I'm just letting her know. Again, I could play games, I could bullshit, but she's already trying to make plans with me, so why wouldn't I make it easy, right? If she gives me like games back, or if she like seems difficult or is giving me shit tests, then by all means I'll play. But as long as she's straightforward, I'll just keep it straightforward. I want to keep it friendly, to the point. In these kind of situations, I think to myself, how would I text a good friend who I expect to meet up with me? And however I'm texting there would be good enough for her. So she's texting me after, exclamation mark, would be fun to meet up, smiley face, all good, looking positive, etc. All right, so then I tell her after my speech, I'm like, yeah, I'm out now, probably hitting up Story, you. She goes, we're at Story now, let me know when you get here. That's kind of a fortuitous coincidence, but these things do happen. There's only, we're both on vacation, there's only a few places really that she'd be likely to be. So it's pretty legitimate. There's also the possibility, to be fair, I'm not necessarily saying this is the case, but a lot of times if the girl's really into you, and this is very arrogant of me to even say, but a lot of times if the girl's really into you, and she doesn't have exact plans yet, she'll just say she's on those plans and then meet up with you wherever you're going. So that can happen as well. And I kind of led here. It's also kind of a high risk kind of thing, telling her my plan in advance. But the fact of the matter was, similar to the previous night, I had plans. I was with friends, and so I wasn't putting aside my plans entirely for her. And in fact, that high valueness and that abundance carries through in the text a little bit. Again, it's risky because if you put too strong of a plan out there, then you might contradict her plan and make it harder, but the fact that you do have a plan, the fact that you are going somewhere, at least conveys value. So it may not be the proper logistical text, but at least it's a good value text. So obviously, if she's there as well, that's golden. So I just text her when we're there. And then here, might not stay long though. Where are you if I want to say hi before I go? Here in this case, again, I'm doing something. I'm with my friends, etc. I know she likes me, but I'm not going to wait around for her. Also, we're at a club. There's a lot of hot girls there, so I don't want to necessarily invest my night in one particular girl when there's a lot of other girls I could talk to. So I'll invest a little time in it and see where it's going. But if she's not going to be on board, if she's not going to be down pretty quickly, or if it's going to be a lot of work or bullshit, then I'll just pick up a new girl. Not a big deal. So she tells me her location. She says she'll come down and say hi. I tell her I'm by the front bar. So at this point, we meet up. We have like one quick drink together, talk a bit. The chemistry is definitely there. Her friends are there, but she's already come away into isolation with me, away from the friends. So from this point, a lot of things are set up. And actually this night I didn't have I wasn't mic'd up and everything, but some of my friends that were with me were good enough, because I told them what was going on, to catch some pictures of us and catch the way out and the poll on their phones. So I'm going to show you some clips of that just to close it out. So here we are by the bar having the drink, just kind of getting to know each other. And then here we are walking out. Friend has his phone upside down, but walking out, getting in the taxi, and heading off on our way. So away we go. So overall, pretty straightforward with the actual poll itself. By the point that we'd met up the second night, like, she pretty much had already agreed she liked me. It was kind of a foregone conclusion. There's a lot of investment there. Clearly through the text, she likes me. But what I really wanted to show you there is the group theory stuff, how to get the solid number, how to qualify and actually disqualify, i.e. push the girl away in such a way that she feels that what you have is special, but at the same time doesn't feel she totally has you. That's the mix you want to have, right? It's qualify and disqualify, which it sounds like it would cancel out, but it doesn't, because both qualification and disqualification build sexual tension. So what you're doing is you're kind of leaving it neutral in her mind. She doesn't know if she can have you or not, but everything you're doing is building the sexual tension, building the anticipation in her mind, making you relevant, making you important for her. And then just following through. Again, the text there is pretty simple as far as text examples that you'll see, but it's about just being to the point and not fucking it up. A lot of guys would get too cute there, right? Because a lot of guys would assume, oh, I just got a number. I got to like offer a lot of value at the start and do this large rigmarole and have 20 texts back and forth, and they'd wait forever to escalate. Now, if the set's on, just get to the point, all right? You're always responding to what she's giving you. So if she's giving you really positive things via text, get to the point and make plans. If she's not giving you positive, she's giving you silence or shit tests, that's when you do that like more technical text game where you're offering value, passing the shit test, building it over time, okay? So just note that you wanna have your set be the reason you get laid, not your text game. That's the primary way. The goal is to have the interaction so good that the text game is a non-factor. And then the other thing to keep in mind, again, qualifying, screening, figuring out the logistics in advance, all of that's gonna make the text game and the meetup better, all right? So hope you enjoyed that. I'm glad that I got to put out, a nice one where there was actually like a phone bridge and like a day two type of a situation, because I haven't put out a lot of those on VU so far, so it's good for you to see that as well, especially for those of you who haven't mastered your pulling game yet. Although, if you wanna work on your pulling game, check out all the other ones as well, because that's important too.